Good people, good people, good people. Thank God Commanders football is back. And so we're here to welcome you to another edition of Commanders Wrap, where you get all your Commanders news in 15 minutes. I'm your host, Dr. Wonderful, Doctor of Writing, Professor of English, and avid Commanders fan. And I'm joined here by my co host, Kevin Bayne. We normally air every other Sunday at 9 a.m. Or now that training camp is back, every Sunday will be airing at 9 a.m. on YouTube and replay at 10 a.m. on Spotify, Amazon Music, and Audible. We are starting our podcast a little bit late today because Kevin was a bit under the weather, but is feeling a bit better today. How are you feeling, Kevin?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I can't complain. It's football is here. Training camp is upon us.
Right?
Right. So one thing at the Commanders Wrap, we only want to give you actual football news, and we'll always say when we're giving our opinions, but we can't do narratives. We're not those people. We're not going to chase every narrative, which is what the off season of the last like 30 days or so has been. But with training camp upon us, some news has broken for the Commanders, um, and it's been some good news regarding signings. But we've also got some things that we've been waiting on still when it comes to Terry McLaurin. But before we start Terry McLaurin and training camp, let's start with some of the other signings. Second round pick Trey Amos, excuse me, and free agent linebacker and future Hall of Famer Von Miller all signed this past week with the Commanders. Kevin, what do you think of these? What do you think of these two signings?
Yeah. I be honest with you, I wasn't even aware of the Trey Amos the situation that was going on with the second round picks until you brought it to my attention. Several days back or whatever. And then quickly realized that it was not just him, but a bunch of the second round picks weren't signed. Uh, I know that it kind of made me feel a bit better actually knowing that it wasn't just Trey that wasn't signed, that it was a bunch, it was a majority of the players. Uh,
Right.
so that was a situation that was related to a shift in the rookie contract landscape, with some teams and agents pushing for fully guaranteed contracts for second round picks, a practice that's not traditionally followed. My understanding of what kind of set it off was the top two picks of the second round, Carson Schlesinger and Jaden Higgins. They signed fully guaranteed money with their teams, the Browns and the Texans. Again, this isn't something that's normal practice. It was the first time it has happened for second round picks under the current CBA collective bargaining agreement. Immediately, other players started to demand similar fully guaranteed deals or substantial increases in guaranteed money. So yeah, it immediately led to a standoff for a lot of those picks not being signed for over 2 months, which they said it could have really gotten messy because the rookies, they actually have a little bit of leverage. They're not subject to the same fines as veterans are for missing training camp. But I'm happy to report as of a few days ago, I believe it was the 17th, we did get him signed. He was signed to a 4-year deal worth a little over 7.2 mil, with the average yearly salary of just over 1.88 mil. And that contract does not include any guaranteed money. So yeah, was happy to see that. And then Von Miller. I assumed Peters was going to make a move at the position. I think we all kind of were. Uh, I was hoping for Hendrickson, but hey, it is what it is. I don't know if I'd say I was really that surprised, just given the fact that Peters' method since he's been here, the fact he doesn't shy away from older veterans. I mean, the proof is there, right? You got Eckler, Ertz, Wagner. The list kind of goes on. And when we first made those moves, I was a little bit optimistic, but we see how it played out. I mean, we were one game away from being in the Super Bowl, so the plan almost worked out. I think Peters is definitely in a win now mode. And so signing a guy like Vaughn to a 1-year deal, it kind of makes sense in that aspect. It's no secret, he's an old veteran. He's definitely at the tail end of his career. I've seen his snap percentage did drop significantly over the last 2 seasons with Buffalo, although he did get 6 sacks last season. The bigger question is, how much gas does he have left in the tank? And, that's always debatable. But I think even with Vaughn now in this stage of his career is a better option than who we have currently at the position. I think Peters is looking to bolster that pass rush, and I think there's some merit to the move, even if he's placed as a situational pass rushing threat. I mean, it's a 1-year deal at 6.1 mil, and yeah, we should see how it plays out.
Yeah, I don't disagree with anything you've said here, either about Trey Amos or Von Miller. Now, I found the Miller signing a bit surprising, only because Darius Smith, who performed very well last season for the Detroit Lions after being traded from the Bengals, is still a free agent. But there's a lot that we still don't know about who was contacted, who had interest, so forth and so on, what the numbers were. But what we do know is that AP was in Denver when Von Miller was drafted, and the NFL is all about relationships. So don't let nobody fool you on that. That's why Zach Ertz is here in part because of his relationship, right, with our offensive coordinator. Same with Austin Eckler, right?
Mm-hmm.
His relationship. So that could
Yeah.
have played a part in it as well. As for the Trey Amos signing, I mean, it just had to get done. It's important for rookies to be at training camp when it starts because if they're not there at training camp, right, then he's already behind
Yep.
just from the first day.
Yep.
And so it would not have been a good look for Trey. It would not have been a good look for AP. I will say though, the moves that these rookies made suggested something else is coming. When I say the rookies, the second round picks, everyone's got to remember it didn't used to be like this. This rookie wage scale only benefits the owners, and the owners did it because you had certain number one picks that were getting like egregious money. I always say, to me, this felt like the Sam Bradford rule because this feels like Sam Bradford feels to me like the last top pick who got a lot of money. And then this CBA came in, and I'll have to check the history on that. But rookies also could hold out for a whole lot longer because they were
Yep.
trying to negotiate these big deals. But this thing really does kind of only benefit the owners in a certain way. So we might start to see it once first round picks start doing it, it's over.
Yep. Yep.
Right, right. And the NFL and the CBA and the NFLPA is having all kind of issues
Mm-hmm.
right now that's going on. But it had to get done. And if it didn't get done, it would have been a bad look. And speaking of not a good look, Kevin, this Terry McLaurin contract situation, just get it done, Commanders. I'm not buying any of the stuff about the trades, whatever. Just
Yep.
we need to get it done, and we need to
Yep.
get it done before training camp because it does not need to be a storyline that we're going to follow. It does not need to be a storyline of training camp. So, with that in mind, in our second segment, Kevin, what are some storylines you are hoping to follow in training camp? And are there any like specific people you're going to be looking out for as training camp begins this week?
Yeah. Just as you just mentioned, I think probably, unfortunately, the biggest storyline could very well possibly be Terry not being there. Um, you know, I know I've mentioned it before. The same exact thing happened with him in 2022, where actually he was waiting on a new deal. He actually missed some of training camp while waiting on that new contract. And just as you mentioned, it's not a good look. I know he recently spoke out about it, which not good. So yeah, I'm hoping they work out something sooner than later. I still believe a deal will get done, and just again, hopefully it happens very quickly at this point. Um, yeah, there's quite a few players I'm going to be paying attention to going into training camp. A handful of the rookies and veterans, but to name just a few, I'll start out with the face of the franchise and Jaden Daniels. I think everyone's eyes will be on Jaden. He's a second-year quarterback. I think it's going to be fun to watch his development and leadership and his fast-paced system under Cliff. Uh, he's the real deal, and I think he's going to be even better this season. I'm also going to be looking at the O line, which should be strengthened with the signing of Pro Bowler Tunsil and first-round pick Connerly Jr. And their performance is going to be critical for protecting Jaden and creating those rushing lanes. It's no secret that Jaden's safety is paramount, so definitely going to be paying attention to that. Also, Marshawn Lattimore. We traded for him last season. We knew he wasn't healthy when we traded for him. He missed significant time because of that. He's expected to be fully healthy now and lead this cornerback group. I'm expecting Lattimore to really step up and have a great season. And kind of the same thing with Sandstrill. He really impressed me last year. I think he's going to have an even better season. And not last but least, I'll say the rookie and Jalen Lane. While he's primarily a wide receiver, and think him and Debo will give Jaden some reliable looks. Jalen is supposed to have some skills in the return game, and we've mentioned that before. He's still competing for that position, is my understanding. And special teams is sometimes overlooked on how important it is. So I'm definitely excited to see what he can do, not only as a receiver, but as a returner. It's just a huge part of the game. And for the love of God, just let everyone stay healthy. That's the most important thing.
Yes, and it looked like we got some good reports from Noah Brown off of at least his Instagram account,
Okay.
right?
I
Who
didn't
who
see that.
went
Okay.
down. Well, yeah, he was shown working out on his Instagram account. I know that the more we didn't hear that he would be out, because you have to say that if
Mm-hmm.
someone is going to miss the season, the more hope I had for him. But we'll see who quote unquote opens training camp on the pup list uh, on Wednesday. I will say this. For me, all I'm looking for is I want to know if we're one piece away, even though I have high hopes for us this season. I want to know if this running back works out,
Yeah.
this running back crew, if this O line works out, if this D line works out, right?
Yeah.
While I'm off of the Trey Hendrickson thing because we'd have to give up a lot of draft capital,
Yeah.
right? If you prove you're one piece away with a late run, what do you do there? I've always said I think if a Trey Hendrickson move does happen, and I don't think it will, I would look closer to the trade deadline if that is something that seems like we would do. But
Right.
I think we already gave up enough draft picks. I just don't
Yep.
actually see that.
Right.
But either way, lots of fun storylines to follow. That's the best thing about it. And that's going to wrap up our pre-training camp episode of Commanders Wrap. And like I said, now that football is here, we'll be back every week with you every Sunday at 9 a.m. For our regular edition of Commanders Wrap, where we recap all of your relevant Commanders news in 15 minutes.